Today, we're going to meet an inspiring woman who is making an impact through her spa as well as through her skincare products. Originally born in Ghana and now living in the US, Cindy Tya is an entrepreneur and the founder of Diva Day Spa. And don't get it wrong, it's not about being a diva, but it's about taking care of you. And I'm really, really privileged to meet her today. This has been some divine coming together because through a friend introducing me to her, and then us finding out that we have someone in common through conversation before we started recording, it's truly, truly meant to be that we're here having this discussion and finding out more about what she does. I love amplifying women, especially African women, and seeing what they are doing to make an impact in this world. So today we're going to be chatting with Cindy and learning more about her business and how she's making a difference in this world. Cindy, oh my goodness. I was so excited when I learned about who you are and what you've done. And then you were on Drew Barrymore's show. I really like her. Like, she's somebody I really, really liked. She seems like one of the most genuine people in Hollywood. So, we'll get more into how that came to be. But first of all, I love amplifying stories of women, African women, women of African descent in general. And you're doing a great thing right now with your Diva Day Spa and Healing Center. But let's start by talking about who you are, where you've come from, and then we go on this journey with you.
Ivy, thank you so much. I went to school in Ghana. I was taught to make beauty products by a teacher, chemistry teacher, who's now a mutual acquaintance of ours.
Yes.
And my father kind of moved me into the nursing arena, and he wanted me to become a doctor. So after 13 years as a nurse, I had to walk away. Mm-hmm. I had to change my focus and change my future. I left nursing, I opened a hair salon, experienced turnover. That led me to my products. But I found that my true calling was always taking care of women. Mm-hmm. I've had a passion for pouring into women. They're the cornerstones of everything. Mm. So I left nursing, opened a salon, experienced turnover, had my products, and then consequently years later, opened this healing center that I'm talking about. And I am just so overjoyed because I'm finally operating in my assignment. I have gone from healthcare to hair care to healing. And that's where I am now.
I like that. Healthcare to hair care to healing. Mm-hmm. It's like the 3 H's.
Yes.
I want to touch on what we both said, that we have someone in common, which is Mr. Titi Ofe.
Yes.
What a lot of people, some of you who follow me, you may not know that I used to work at a high school in Ghana called SOS College. It was the 2011-2012 school year, and the gentleman who was the school principal, Mr. Ofe, happened to be the man who changed her life. Like, the man who helped to create that shift that led to where you are today. So tell that story.
Oh my God. I was failing chemistry. In Ghana, you pick or get subjects picked for you. My parents had picked physics, chemistry, biology, and I was flunking at the bottom of the class. Now, the meaning of education, for the teachers out there who don't know, is educare. It comes from a Latin word, educare, to draw out of. Mm. And that's what my teacher did. He said, you failed again, but I want to meet you in the lab, and I want you to bring these items with you, and I'm going to teach you how to make beauty products. You're going to learn to love my subject. And as a young girl, as young ladies most often are, interested in beauty and cosmetics, etc., he taught me how to make nail polish. And he said, look, I want you to be part of the science fair. That was for the really smart students. So for me, that was an honor, and I didn't know how to act. I attended the science fair. I had 2 Petri dishes there, and I didn't know what to say to people. Everybody that came in was walking towards the more elaborate experiments. Mm-hmm. Nobody was coming to me until this man in the military walked over with his wife. And when they walked over, she pointed and said, "What's that?" I froze. That's when Mr. O'Fay rushed over, and he rescued me again. He said, "This is Cynthia. She's a cosmetologist and a chemist." And I thought, oh my God, that's a big word, but I love it. I took it to mean one who creates or makes beauty products. And I put that in my heart. I locked it inside because I couldn't let my parents know. And I told my dad, he was like, no. Do you know how hard it is to know what you're called to do and be forced to do what you're not born to do? So I went on and became a nurse. I got married. You know, in Ghanaian culture, you're expected to get married, have children, you know, just expectations. And I became miserable, not with my husband or my family. I loved them, but I was unhappy with my career choice. So I convinced my husband to have us move from Maryland to Florida because I was so unhappy. I thought that moving to Florida with the sunshine and whatnot would change everything. We built a house, 3-bedroom house, 5-bedroom house, 3-car garage, in-ground swimming pool. I lived a luxurious life of a part-time housewife, part-time nurse. And yet when my children took their nap, I would go in the closet and weep. I didn't cry. See, weeping is when you're mourning the loss. I would weep because I knew that there was more for me. And I had to figure out how to get out of nursing in order to fulfill my purpose in the beauty business.
Wow, that's deep.
Yes.
Because weeping is really in the soul.
Oh, honey. Yes.
It's in the soul.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So what did you do to get yourself out of that situation?
Yes. Well, they say in the Bible, what profited a man to gain the whole world and yet lose his own soul? I had to reverse the situation some kind of way. I didn't know how. All I knew was I needed us to move back to Maryland. I thought, okay, I'll move back. I'll get my job there as a nurse and then figure it out. We moved back. I'd be driving down the highway and I'd feel that urge. You have to leave, you have to leave. And finally, one Sunday, I'm going in and a sermon came on the radio because I pleaded with God. I said, God, help me. A sermon came on the radio and the pastor said, in order to have the life you want, you must change your focus and change your future. And I said, oh my God, I have to change the focus of what I'm looking at in order to change everything. Okay, God, I hear the message, but now that I'm going in, I need you to give me a clear sign that I need to quit. And if I go in today and a doctor upsets me or anybody upsets me, then I'm quitting. I was making $48 an hour. I was making good money, you know, subsidizing what my husband was bringing in. He got bills to pay. But that day, I made a covenant with God, because you can make a pact with the devil or a covenant with God. And I said, you know what, God? I refuse to sell my soul. I'm making a covenant with you. When I got in, it was but a few minutes that a doctor came and he said, nurse, I need these orders stat. And he slammed it on the counter. I said, that I have my answer. I went over to the photocopying machine, picked up some papers, and I began writing my resignation. I put it in an envelope. I went downstairs and put it in the nurse manager's cubby hole, walked away, and I said, I'm not touching it, it's done. And by Monday morning, she had it, and I was finished. I called my husband, I said, I quit my job. He said, we didn't discuss it. And I said, I'm sorry, but it wasn't up for discussion. I need to be a better person for you and the children. And that's what started the journey.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. All or nothing.
There's so many people who are not able to take that leap.
Yes. All or
and
nothing.
You were able to just like that.
All or nothing.
All or nothing.
All or nothing.
So once you quit, you had the conversation with your husband. How did the kids take it when they learned that you quit?
My children were young when this happened.
Okay.
But my boys knew that mom is not happy. So they were young when it happened. It's impacted them over the years, though. And I don't know if you want to know that now or later. But my leaving nursing has impacted all three of my children.
How?
My oldest son went to university, worked as an investment banker, hated it so much. He left, started his own construction company, and now builds houses from the ground up.
Wow.
My middle son was working for a law firm, but has started his own company as an entertainment attorney. And my daughter is a singer-songwriter. She went to school for music production, and she's a vocalist. She writes music for artists, and she's running her own and doing her own thing. That is what it did for them. It liberated them. Because your transparency is another person's transformation. If you can be transparent with who you are, tell the truth about who you are, it liberates others. And that's what it did for them. Yes.
It gave them the freedom
Yes.
to choose
Yes.
to do what they were meant to be doing.
That's it.
And I think that for a lot of African children, there's this pressure that they have to fall in line with what the expectations of their family, their parents, their community is. You know, if you're smart in something, then it's expected that you're gonna do this. Oh, you're gonna do that. And then the pressure is there. Because I also know somebody who went to medical school to become a doctor, and she had been working as a doctor for a couple of years, and she realized this is not what I want to do. I'm only doing this because my parents told me that's what I had to do.
Yes.
And eventually the day came where she quit and then moved on to another career.
Wow, yes.
And
yes.
she told me how, you know, even after she quit, because African parents there's a pride in saying, you know, my son is a doctor. Or,
Bragging rights. Bragging rights.
They still say,
yes.
Oh, Dr. So-and-so, and she'll be like, I'm not working as a doctor anymore, so please don't introduce me in that way. But the parents still do it. Because that's become their pillar of pride.
The pillar of pride, and it's the one-up and, you know, what I couldn't do, my child did. I'm actually here in Ghana to visit my father, who I don't feel like he ever fully accepted the fact that I made the change. I don't even think he understands what I do and how God has enabled me to impact lives with what I do. I went to visit him because he's not very well. And the first thing he said was, how many degrees do you have now? I left nursing in 2003. We're in 2024.
Yes, we are. That's more than 20 years.
21 years later. Still asking me, how many degrees do you have? And then my mother chirps in, didn't you do nursing? But I left years ago. We're still stuck here. Because to say that maybe my daughter is a spa owner or creator of a hair care brand, it doesn't weigh in their minds the equivalent of saying, oh, my daughter is a nurse with a bachelor's and a master's and a PhD.
Our community is so focused on that piece of paper and not recognizing that there are other ways to be successful and to fulfill your life purpose, you know? So I'm glad that you're able to do what you're doing, you know, and you've been through a lot. You've shared your personal journey about some of the things that you've gone through that have impacted you, which I think helps you with your spa, with the healing for women.
A lot of abuse. I don't call certain things discipline. When you've lost control as a parent, okay, it's different when you're disciplining with love. And it's different when you're disciplining with anger and frustration, because you can lose, you lose the argument. You lose what you're saying. And a lot of parents say, well, yes, it is in the Bible, spare the rod and spoil the child. But you have to lovingly discipline within boundaries, within parameters. But a lot of parents, and I'm telling and cautioning parents that do that, to be careful and guarded and ask God to guide you as to how to discipline. Because grabbing objects, hitting with objects, kicking, punching, you basically have lost the argument. You've lost the point as to why you're doing it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of abuse here in Ghana, it held a lot of pain for me. And I haven't been as often because there's a lot of bad, painful memories. I'm here on this healing journey at this time because my father is not well. And I'm here to not just reconcile and make peace, but to heal me as well. Mm-hmm. Because God has allowed me to be able to tap into helping so many who are hurt and broken. He says, it's your time now. You have to practice what you preach. You have to sit back and then go and clean up your backyard to come back and be effective. Mm-hmm. I was struggling before I came. I was having panic attacks. One evening, we'd gone to Costco to pick up stuff. My husband had to carry me because I couldn't breathe. Because I was like, oh my God, when I see them, what am I gonna say? What's that? I couldn't breathe. And he literally had to carry me because I was about to pass out. And the day before I came, a friend of mine, Natalie, she came over. And she's like, I just need to pick up some products for my mother. And as we sat down, she said, yeah, suitcase is packed. I said, I'm going to Ghana. She said, oh, okay. She said, what are you going for? I said, to see my brother. She said, this is the biggest healing session of your life. This is you, Cindy. This is about you. You go and you get it done. So I've been here now since last Monday. Mm-hmm. I've seen them. It's been so sad to watch the decline, that the anger that I felt towards them for all that had been done, it's just being transmuted. It's like I go from sadness, pity, I don't even know. I stood there last night and said, God, I surrender this to you, God, whatever they did, I'm surrendering it to you. Thank you for allowing me to forgive them. Forgiveness is a hard word, When people have hurt you, forgiveness. Ooh, girl.
Trust me, I know.
It's hard. It's hard.
It is very hard.
Because you want that person to feel what you went through. But you know what? That line in The Color Purple is so true. When she said, what you done to me, already been done to you. Everything we do, we reap. You can have hell on earth. There's a physical hell, but you can have hell on earth, hell in your heart, the hatred and anger, or hell in the mind, where you're losing your mind. They're different forms of hell. So I'm reconciling with all the past things, and I'm coming into a peaceful state, and I'm grateful.
So did you, in this healing process, say anything to your parents about specific things that they did in order to try to reconcile?
I did years ago. I wrote a letter. I'd spoken to them, and it was all denial, anger. How dare you talk to us that way? But New Year's Eve is when this whole thing started. I had a friend. We went to an event, and he said, you're always prophesying and sharing words of wisdom and encouragement to people, and this time I'm going to give you a prophetic word. I said, what? He says, your father is ready. You need to go to Ghana. He didn't even know. I said, okay. I went home that night and I said, New Year's Eve, I said, if he calls me and asks me to come, then I'll come. Very next day, we don't talk to each other for about 6 months, 8 months at a time. It's so tense, uncomfortable. But the very next day, I got a phone call. We started talking, and as we were talking, he was stuttering his words because his mind is going. As he was stuttering his words, I started weeping because I felt sorry for him. It's the same man who was slapping, hitting, yelling, And then he started yelling at himself. Take your time, take your time. He was just, and I started weeping. And he said, don't cry, don't cry. And I said, I've been meaning to see you. And he said, come and see me, come and see me. So I prayed and I said, God, I won't until he says you come. And when I got here, of course he said, how many degrees do you have? But in between all that abrasiveness, he said, I prayed for you to come. I prayed for you to come. He said, I pray for you to come. God, yes. He said, I pray for you to come. Wow. Mm-hmm. So I haven't mentioned anything because he already knows. He already knows. And he's suffering. And I need to release him. He and my mother. Yes. Yeah.
This really is a healing trip for you.
Yes, ma'am.
More than anything.
Yes. 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 Yes, it is. It is.
And once because you're only here for a short time and then going back.
Yes.
Once you go back, do you have plans to return again soon? Or do you think another long period of time? Because how long has it been since you've been in Ghana?
It's been since 2018.
Okay. It's like, was it 5, 6 years?
Yes. Prior to that, it was longer. It was like 14, 15 years.
Wow.
Yes. Because I'd been before and things had been said. The whole I'll disown you always came up, And I thought, I've had enough. I'll disown myself. I'm tired of hearing this. And 2018, I came because there was a global women's conference and that was a buffer. I didn't stay with them. I stayed with a friend and everything was, it was buffered. So I didn't have to be in his presence. I said hello and then goodbye on the way out. This time around, even though I'm going almost daily, I find it better to stay here at the Serenity house because it's peaceful. I need the respite. I need the, and the separation. After this trip, I really don't know when, because I'm still getting through it. And as I'm getting through it, I'm a workaholic. A lot of people who've been through trauma, they deal with their trauma in different ways. I deal with mine by immersing myself in work and serving other people. Because in my mind, as I'm helping heal them, I'm healing too. But my daughter said something. She says, Ma, what you want done to you and done for you is what you've been doing for all these people. And that's so true. So it's when I go back that I'll really feel the essence of who I am, because I've been a servant for so long. I've been trampled for so long. Even my first business, my stylist would do whatever, say whatever. I allow them to be abusive because I was used to being abused. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So your first business.
My first business, my first salon, my girls would call out. They wouldn't show up for work. They were rude. They were obnoxious. I went through turnover. I was being abused in that business.
Wow.
And I remember a friend of mine said, you're literally laying down, letting them walk all over you. Why? Why can't you get up and speak up? And what I would do, which is typical of a lot of people here in Ghana. Sometimes they do. It's like somebody says something, or you're upset or you're offended. Instead of telling the person that you hurt me, you offended me, you stop talking to them. You don't speak.
The silent treatment.
The silent treatment.
Yeah.
Because to speak up means, oh, you're confrontational.
Yeah.
You're fighting. You like fighting. You're aggressive. But then that's a healthy option. Tell the person it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm learning to claim and reclaim my power. Yes, bit by bit. Because silence, you see, with abuse, silence is what holds the power over the person who's been abused, because they're embarrassed. They've been taught not to say anything. See, I was not just physically abused, I was sexually abused as well. Not by my parents.
That is awful.
Yes. So I've been molested, I've been raped, I've been through a lot. But all of this prepared me for what I do and who I am today. Yes. So to have gone through the amount of trauma, what happens is you end up bleeding on the people who didn't cut you. And you hemorrhage it in other ways. Yes. So that's why I'm able to tap in and understand people's pain. That's why I work with victims of domestic violence and homeless women and girls who've been abused. Because I can relate to them and their pain. So my pain has now become my purpose.
So with all the trauma you've experienced with the physical and sexual abuse, emotional abuse, of course, it's going to be mental abuse through the words used as well. How do you use your experiences to help some of the women at your spa and your healing center now? What are some of the things you do?
Well, amazingly enough, God gave me a great gift. I was talking about your gift of your voice and your words. He's given me tremendous discernment. I'm a seer. He gives me visions. Sometimes he'll allow me to see things and hear things about people before they show up. And he's allowed me to use my hands to heal. And when I touch people, they can feel it. They can feel the healing coming out. Nursing did something, because I learned when I did my bachelor's, sociology, psychology. So I'm able to really assess people mentally and figure out which direction they're going to. I'm also an ordained minister.
Oh, you are? Wow.
I'm an ordained minister. So people come for marriage counseling. They come for individual counseling. And I always find that the women who are sitting in front of me, there'll be maybe 8 out of 10 of those women has been through what I've been through. And that's by design, because he allows me to have the sensitivity. See, the thing with abuse, especially sexual abuse, is a spiritual as well as emotional, more than it is physical. There's an impartation in the spirit onto that victim. And that impartation or transference is like an invisible fingerprint. And when it's imparted on that person, the person begins to experience guilt, shame, anger, rejection. They experience all these feelings throughout. And if you see a person exhibiting certain signs, if you're a person like me who's been through it, like begets like, you automatically figure, ooh, that's what's going on. So I'm able to discern, and with great sensitivity and caution, pull out what is going on. And the minute they sit down, I usually have a box of tissues. When I pray and I say, God, today is the day they'll be released, they begin weeping and releasing. And I allow people, sometimes I allow them to scream their frustrations out. Because grief is like nausea. What do you do when you want to throw up? You don't hold it in.
You let it out.
And once they do, that's the beginning. Because it's all shrouded in darkness and secrecy. Once they speak up and speak out, it's done. The secret is out now. And that's why I speak about what I went through. not to relive it, but because I mentioned to you before, my transparency will lead to another person's transformation, because they'll say, wow, she went through that and she's still here. Some of the things I spoke about still make me tear up. But when I speak about the sexual abuse, I'm matter of fact about it, because I've gotten over, because I understood and understand that the person who molested me was a demonic spirit. It was a bad energy who was possessed with something that did what they did. I can't even remember the person, to be honest with you. So that allows me the grace to be able to forgive that person for what they did. God help them, because the realms of heaven and hell are really real places. So in order to move on and be able to help the women I help, I have to come at it with not just a subjective view, but compassion and a non-judgmental view. Because everybody else will say, well, where were you? Why were you there? No. They didn't ask for it to happen, but they can either choose to wallow in the pity after we've been through a session, or they can use that pain to forge ahead to their purpose, or their pain to create their power. Yes.
That's deep.
Yes.
Well, you're really making an impact on a lot of people. I also want to talk, before we wrap up, about your product, your brand.
Yeah.
Besides the spa, you actually have a brand of hair care products. Talk about that.
Well, the Diva by Cindy brand was born, as I mentioned, in Ghana, when my teacher taught me how to make beauty products. But we actually launched in 2007 a line of products to help stop hair shedding, hair breakage, and stimulate hair growth. The products are really a vehicle and a conduit to healing. We use a percentage of proceeds to support homeless women and victims of domestic violence. That's called the Diva Project. And I always wanted to have something that had a purpose or a meaning behind it. So we have a full line of shampoos, conditioners, leave-in spray, growth hair products. My products are about restoration and restoring the hair. My life is about restoration. My location is about restoration. My nonprofit is about restoration. Everything that I do, one word, restoration. That's why I do what I do. My products have helped women who call me and say, hey, my hair grew, my hair's thicker, my hair's fuller. And we also ended up putting the products in vending machines.
Yes, I saw that, vending machines, and that's something that I wouldn't have even thought about.
Well,
hair products in a vending machine.
Yes, I'm the first Black woman in America to put her hair products in an automated vending machine. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that's because I had a store in the airport. They reclaimed my store and gave it to a bigger cosmetic company. And one of the things that I've learned is I'm a woman who can turn adversity quickly into something else. Tell me I can't do it. I dare you. I will prove to you that I can. Because that's all I've been doing, fighting my whole life to say, I can do this. And so when they took away the store, I was sitting, it was in February of 2018. April, I was sitting in my living room, on my dining table. The birds were out there. And I said, God, I know that some of the visions I see scare me, but you put me in the airport, because even the way I even ended up in the airport initially with the store was divine. It was just incredible. I said, you put me there, but show me why you put me in there. You pulled me out. And I literally had an open vision. I saw a vending machine. It just went, whoop, and I was like, oh my God. Like I've never had like an open vision before. Let me tell you, God is real. God is real.
Wow.
God is real. That was an amazing, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, you took it away because you want me to put the products in a machine. So I Googled, in 2018, I Googled natural hair care vending machine. Nothing came up. And I went to work and we launched it. And the most amazing thing was After it was launched, my husband came home because he's a computer programmer. He's a, IT director. He's now VP of IT. And he said, oh, the idea, it has to go through all this testing, because he will oppose a lot of things that I start doing.
Mm-hmm.
But a minute it's on, he's backing me to hilt. So he said, I don't think this will work, because they have to go through all this testing. Blah, blah, blah. When it was done, he came home. I was talking on the phone because I was going to kind of make payments on it because the price of the machine is like the price of a car.
Oh.
Yes. The one I was getting is the price of a car because it has a touch screen and everything. Yeah, this has a big computer panel in front of it. So he came home and he said, so how are you going to pay for your machine? I'm thinking, you're sitting here trying to poke more holes. I said, I don't know. Maybe put it on a payment plan. I don't know. He said, how about I become your first investor? Call them. I'll take care of the payment. And he did it. He took care of the first machine. And I call her Heaven One because I heard from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
I heard from heaven. And now she's in BWI Airport, Concourse D. I don't have to be there. I can run my spa and have my machine dispense the products to people.
That's great. And now being in an airport, I imagine that the size is probably scaled for travel.
Actually, we used to put travel sizes, we used to sell the travel sizes, but we actually have full-size bottles because people that are traveling in and going out, let's say somebody has had their stuff taken from them at TSA. Right? And they're flying from Maryland to Oklahoma. TSA takes your stuff out, you're going home, you can buy it. Or if you're going to a meeting, you can buy it and take it with you.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have full-size products. The top row, we have the little travel sizes, but we do have full-size products in there.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And how does it feel? You'd like to make history because as the first Black woman to have something like this.
Yes.
How's it feel?
You know what? People walk around me, even my staff. They're like, you're so not like out there, like arrogant and whatnot, because I've been beat down so much. That's why I said that even my parents don't know what I do or the level to which God has elevated me and helped me do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, it's done. What's next? I'm always like that. It's like the next step, the next step, the next step. My children tell me, Ma, you need to enjoy your accomplishments. But I'm in phase 1 of my location. This is the 4th year. And I'm already, when I talk to myself, I need to figure out phase 2. Where's phase 2 going to be? I need to find a location for it. Because I've been taught to never be comfortable. I've been taught never to be comfortable. I've learned never to be comfortable. Because comfort equals complacency.
Mm.
There's always more. There's always more ingenuity. See, to all those who say they don't have money, they're poor, I'm going to give you one word, and it's going to change your life. Intelligence and academia never created wealth. Creativity creates wealth.
That.
Yes. I sat there and said, God, show me. And he taught me this. He says, you call me your creator. I created you in my own image. Therefore, you are co-creator with me. When you stop creating, you die. You're here to create. So when you come up with an idea, an innovation, and you monetize it, that's where the wealth is.
Mm. It's true. Creativity creates wealth. I mean, when you think about it, people who created the tools we use every day, our phones,
the furniture. If you look at the Facebook, the Google, all of these people came up with ideas.
And a lot of them never finished university.
No.
They dropped out to continue with their creative vision.
That's what creates wealth.
Bottom line. And our African parents need to understand that.
Yes.
You know, there's nothing wrong. I mean, of course, there's people on this earth meant to be, you know, doctors, lawyers, engineers, nurses. You know, there's a role for everyone, and not everyone was designed and built to do
that.
those
Exactly.
roles. And if our whole world was only filled with those people, then everything else would be empty.
Of course, that's why a garden has so many different types of flowers, so you can admire the different kinds of flowers.
Yeah.
And you can't look at a person and say, well, the fact that they didn't go to university means that they're not dumb, they're not bright. In fact, the most intelligent people that I've sat with are ones that haven't been to university, and we sit and we talk and we exchange ideas. Because the ideas and the creativity. That's why if you go to, and commerce, if you know, the Mokala women, the market women, they're like, okay, I'm gonna go buy goods from here and sell them and do this and do that.
Some of those women are like the richest people in this country.
course they
I tell
are.
you, and
Of
people
course they
don't give
are.
them credit for it.
They don't.
And they're pretty smart with the
They're
with
very
the
smart.
math and all. They'll be
Sharp.
calculating,
Sharp.
and then like
Sharp.
just what they're doing is brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I mean, when you're too intellectual, you really end up dumbing yourself down, because you look at, there was a young guy who my parents were friends with his parents, and he always used to tell me I was dumb. Now I've grown up and I know how dumb he is, because he would say, I'm gonna mean your maths, you know, and this is fun to you know, I know math, you are dumb. But I'm like, what are you doing with that now? You know? What are you doing? What are you using your brain for? There's so much in here. Your imagination can take you so many places if you don't let it stop. Because as you sit there and you begin to see it, you begin to feel it, and you begin to create it, and you write it down, you take the steps towards it, that's when it happens. But if you say it, I'm going to do it, and you don't, you will just continuously just say you're going to do it and never get it done. Yes. Because you're in your brain, you're in your head. And that's why intellectuals have a difficult time of running businesses, because they're so busy scrutinizing and trying to critique what could go wrong versus jumping in head first and saying, I'm doing it. Yes.
I'm curious to know your thoughts. I know we've been talking for a while, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on, because we talked about that you hadn't been to Ghana in a while. You've been in the US for a long time. You still, you know, represent as being a Ghanaian woman.
I am.
What your thoughts are on all the people who are making the decision to leave America and come to Ghana. Like, it's something that I wouldn't have thought about when I was growing up. But now it's like there's this number of people who are like, they want to come to Ghana or other African countries, because Africa was, in the past, people were like, why do you want to go to Africa?
They're excited because it's new, the culture, the music. You know, that's what really started this whole thing. Let's talk about the music. You know, that really started pulling people in. And I will say, if that's what you really want, go ahead, but make sure that you have cash flow, because you can blow a lot of money in this place. From one place to the next, it will go. So if you don't have anything that's coming in, you're going to really regret, because you'll end up poor, frustrated, and then have to go back. And then you have to understand the way the system works. You know, you're a person of speed, you're not going to get things done quickly. You're going to be frustrated.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not ready, because I'm a woman
slow
of
environment.
speed. I went to get my toenails just polished, change. Never think about even, you know, with soaking the feet and doing all that.
Yeah.
No, just change the polish on my feet. Just take the nail polish remover, remove it, and just take the brush and just paint. Whew! I get there. Madame is not here. Where's Madame? She's upstairs. Oh, I came earlier. She wasn't there. And now I've come, she's not. Oh, we have to go and call her. So they go. I'm standing there. The driver's waiting. He's running his engine because the car's running, because he's trying to figure out, are we staying? Are we going? What are we doing? 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Oh my God, enough is enough. No, I don't like substandard. You can't deliver on a high level. I'm done.
Yeah.
I walked away. The guy who's been driving me around heard me talking to one of my customers yesterday. He was like, oh my God, now I see why they come. We have people who fly from Texas, Atlanta, different parts to come. Why? Because I don't care. I'm delivering. If I say you're getting a mango mimosa, you're getting a mango mimosa. You're getting out of here in 2 hours, you're getting out of here in 2 hours. Because you have to exceed people's expectations. You have to give them more. Because it's your attitude and not your aptitude, which determines your altitude.
This has been such a great conversation. I have really enjoyed talking to you and getting to know more about you and what you're doing and the impact you're making. And then talking about healing, because we all need some kind of healing.
Oh, everybody's been through trauma.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone has been through pain. And recognize that when you're going through it, it's not happening to you, but for you.
And that's the hardest part.
Yes.
It's the whole happening
People
for you.
People feel like they're victims. And it's hard.
Because pain
is pain. Yes. But it's not happening to you, but for you. Even dealing with relationships and rejection, you know, people go through this man I was meant to marry and he abandoned me at the whatever, and they go through all this stuff. But they don't understand that sometimes man's rejection is God's protection. Yes.
A word. She just gave a word.
Yes. Man's rejection is God's protection. Yes. Sometimes we have to be patient for the one and not just anyone. Because if you, and a lot of women, you know, sometimes I do a lot of stuff with relationships as well because they're always asking. But if a woman doesn't choose correctly, she will marry a prayer point instead of a prayer partner. And she'll spend the rest of her life on her knees praying for him to change. And that's traumatic too.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always said. I've always said you can't expect to change a man.
No.
Or a man to change a woman. I always say when you are with someone, ask yourself, can you be with that person as who they are today for the rest of your life? And if the answer is no, then don't try to say, well, I can change the person, because you can't.
A walk down the aisle, they think that a walk down the aisle equals happily ever after.
But that's the beginning of the work.
The beginning of the work. Oh, you already know. You already have the red flags. You already know what it is. And yet they choose to go through it anyway and spend years in agony. And the children end up suffering through divorce and separation and trauma.
Yeah.
So some of these traumas, some of them can be prevented and avoided. Others are unavoidable.
Yeah.
Like a child getting snatched and kidnapped or something, you know.
Yeah, that's
some of those
unavoidable.
things are unavoidable.
Yeah.
But some of the traumas we are inflicting on ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, I met somebody who, she said when she woke up the morning after her wedding, she looked over while lying in bed and was like, what in the world did I just do?
Oh my God.
She said that she knew when the ceremony was happening in her gut that she shouldn't marry this guy. But she was like, we've already spent the money. Everybody's already here. This is all happening, so I might as well just go through with it. And then she was like, what did I just do?
She didn't want to be embarrassed.
She's like, now I'm stuck. You know, but they ended up getting divorced, but she tried to push it because she went through it.
She could have recouped her money back then.
And I do know somebody who actually the day of her wedding didn't go through with it. Which, you know, a lot of people were upset, but she was like, better upset and losing money than to go the rest of her life unhappy. It literally was like she was in the room with her bridesmaids and she was like, I can't do this. And someone had to go out and make the announcement that she wasn't going to do it.
Good for her.
I was like, wow.
Good for her.
Wow.
Yeah, she saved herself years of misery.
Yeah. So, but if anybody wants to get a hold of your product, how do they do that? Or if they want to go
DivaByCindy.com, DivaByCindy.com, www.DivaByCindy.com, Instagram at Diva by Cindy, 1-800-929-4057. So 1-800-929-4057. And the Diva Day Spa, MD.com is where our spa is. So once you touch with the products, you know, everything is interconnected. You'll be
Mhm.
able to reach out.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
And we're on Facebook as well.
Great. Thank you for taking out the time during your short visit here in Ghana.
No, thank you. Thank you.
You're
You made it
welcome.
happen.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so much was said in this conversation today. I hope that you've taken something away from what she has shared. She's been very open and transparent with her personal journey and experiences and bits of advice that she's given that you can apply to your life as well. I know there's things that I heard her say that have impacted me today too. So thank you so much for watching today, and check out her products. I'll put all of the information in the description box so you can tap the link and get to her products or get to her spa if you're in the area to go and have yourself a healing experience as well. And maybe she'll even be there that day and you can meet with her as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.